All right, guys, what's going on? Jamie here. Wanted to do another set of updates for you guys. We'll run through some of these miners, what's going on with them, take a look at the contract, which ones are popping, which ones are stable, which ones have been dropping. Cool thing about these miners, guys, is none of them have been totally drained, right? Like if you've been around the block and you've been around when ROI contracts were popular, and some of them are still popular, you know that, the shelf life is really, really short because whales will come in and typically drain the contract, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. It is what it is, right? Like some people don't like whales, but the reality is these whales who come in with big bags, they help to pump the contract, right? Now, when they start to withdraw, these ROI contracts typically will, drop all the way down to zero. And what we've seen with these miners is, to get these miners, even though there's so many of them that pop up, they're relatively new to the space. So we're kind of experiencing this, in real time, right? We're seeing these miners, even though they're dropping and some of them are consistently dropping, they haven't drained all the way down, which it's giving people time to, continue to work with these contracts. So we'll take a look at them. Again, I mean, I'm experiencing this, in real time, just like all of y'all. So we're kind of going through this together, but we'll go through them. Of course, it goes without saying that everything I talk about on my channel is risky, so do your own research. I'm certainly not giving you any type of financial advice. Why would you take financial advice from a stranger on YouTube, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So do your own homework, do your own due diligence. If you want to get in on them, only put in what you can afford it to use. The market right now, going through a little bit of a pump. Over the last 24 hours, I think Bitcoin hit 58K, if I'm not mistaken. Ethereum's been doing really, really well, creeping up to that 4K mark. Hex has done well. BNB had a nice little pump. So you can see here, all these different coins are pumping. Oddly enough, Shiba Inu right now is red. But yeah, it is what it is. CNS, which I talked about a little bit the other day, they went through a nice little pump. Yeah, 43% over the last 24 hours. So congrats to you guys that were in on that CNS miner very, very early on. Anyway, we'll jump right through it. Let's take a quick look. You can see here the price of drip, $17.75. Just went through a nice little pump. It went over $18. So, people are starting to, buy drip because they want to get whitelisted. But yeah, if you didn't see my video yesterday, I covered all of that. Just go ahead and check that out. I don't want to rehash the same information on this video, but check out the video right before this when I go through everything. But if you want to, get in on this, we'll see what the price of drip, ends up being by the time this whole thing rolls out. For me, I've said it many, many times before, this is not, the new miner is not a replacement for the fountain, right? For the faucet contract. It is not the fountain, the faucet contract, right? What you're seeing right here. It's not a replacement, it's in addition to, right? So yeah, super excited about this miner. But yeah, we'll talk more about it as we get closer. We still have plenty of time. But yeah, there is definitely a sense of excitement in the space right now for this project to launch. But while we're waiting, these miners are paying out and drip is doing its thing. Let's take a quick look at BNB miner. Right now, contract sitting at 5,800 BNB, so it's dropped quite a bit. But again, it's still continuing to pay, right? It's not dropping and plummeting because the way the algorithms work for these miners is, you kind of ride it on the way up while it's pumping and the contract is increasing. You're earning that 3% a day, but once it levels off and it starts to go a little bit backwards, the percentage a day does start to decrease. Now, again, you might not like that. Some of you guys might like that, right? Because you see that it'll continue to pay. Some of you guys might not like that. I could see both sides of the coin because obviously if something is advertised as 3% a day and it starts to pay less, I can see why some people will get mad at that. That being said, even if you're earning 1% a day, right? If it drops down to 2% or 1%, 1% a day is nothing to sneeze at. Drip is paying 1% and people are happy about that, right? I mean, there's many, many platforms that we've seen in this space that have paid out 1% a day, and people got, people got tons of profit, right? So 1% a day is definitely not, it's definitely nothing to sneeze at. But that's why you want to get in early, ride it. You want to ride it while it pumps and earn that 3% a day. And then when it levels off and starts to come a little bit down, you're still earning that 1% a day. And that's how these miners have been working. But none of these miners, including BNB Miner, which is the OG one, this one's been out for 6+ months. None of these have drained all the way down to zero yet, right? Now, will there be a point when that happens? I don't know. We'll see, right? But even if it starts to slow down in the percentage, it's still paying. That's the key, right? It's still paying. All you got to do is go around these different miners that you're in, and either compound or withdraw. Now you do get rewarded for compounding, right? Because I believe you do get somewhat penalized if you're withdrawing because your percentage drops, and vice versa. If you're compounding, your percentage does increase a little bit, from what I understand. But that's how these miners work. So anyway, all of that just to say that BNB miner still has 5,800 BNB in it. And it's still it's still out here, working, right? It's working. BUSD farm, this one here originally was a 10% a day farm. Again, that's when it first launches and it's on the way up. A lot of people were making 10%. It's dropped as far as the contract is concerned. So again, I don't believe it's paying out 10% a day currently. But again, you can come in right now and buy miners and actually probably pay less for your miners than I did, right? Again, there's a lot of gamification to these miners. But you can see here I have $568 here that I can withdraw. There's about $750,000 worth of BUSD still in the contract, and yeah, it's still doing its thing, right? It's still paying out. Crypto eggs, this one here has 1,173 BNB. See here, I have about half a BNB here that I can withdraw. But yeah, this one here has dropped quite a bit as well. So again, it's not paying out the 10% that it was. At one point it was, but again, the way these contracts are designed, it does slow down when the contract starts to decrease, but it's still working. It's still working, right? BUSD miner. This one here has 103,000 BUSD. Cake miner. Cake miner still standing steady over $1 million worth of cake in the contract. So this one here, again, it hasn't plummeted down to $100,000 worth of cake, which it probably would have been if it was a typical ROI contract. The way the algorithm works for these miners, it slows it down when the contract starts to go backwards. It's still holding at $1 million, so should be able to withdraw from this one for quite a while. And again, if you jump in now, and I'm not saying you should, I'm not saying for you to jump in, do what you want to do. But if you were to come in now and jump in, because the contract is lower, there's less in the contract than when I jumped in. You probably get your miners way cheaper than I paid for them. XRP, 138,671 XRP still in the contract. So this one's doing what it's doing. ADA has what, 141,000 plus, just under 142,000 ADA. This one here has been doing really, really well. XRP and ADA have been doing really, really well. All of these tokens, by the way, have been pumping because the entire market, is pumping, with the exception of Shiba. BTC, this one here still doing its thing. 3.413 BTC. SHIB, $86,000 in the contract. This one here, CNS. Let me see here. I have just about 100,000 CNS here. This one here has 29,720,000 CNS. CNS just pumped about 43% over the last 24 hours. This one here is on Matic. The cake miner still doing pretty good. Let me switch it over. Oops. What am I doing? Hold on. Go back here and go to the cake miner. So the cake miner still has about 16,000 plus cake in it. So this one here has been paying out. And then if I switch over to, let me switch over to Matic. Now Matic has been super duper slow. see here. Switch on over to Matic. Yeah, this one has been super duper slow. I go to the hex miner. Doesn't even pull up the balance. That's not because of the contract, it's because of the Matic network. It's super duper slow, guys. So I'm gonna have to come back to this one. But this one here is still working along with ETH 0.055928 ETH. This one here is dropped just under 30 ETH in the contract. And then last but not least is Tron. I don't know what Tron did. Tron's been doing. Let me see here. Tron is up 2.77%. And this one here, 640,000 TRX still on the contract. So these miners, as I've mentioned before, they're not draining and plummeting like a rock, hitting zero. Will it come to that point? Probably eventually, right? But it just does it at a very, very slow pace so that people can continue to use them, interact with them. There's people I'm sure that'll jump into these things when these contracts are low because they feel like the miners are on sale, which they are. So again, everyone has their own strategy. The strategy that's worked for me is to get in super early. If there's something that I miss, if there's a miner contract that I miss and I'm not early, then I'll just kind of bypass it and wait for the next one because again, there has always been one upcoming, right? So key to these things is to get in early, ride that contract while it's going up. And then once it levels off, it starts to decrease the daily percentage. You're still able to withdraw, do what you need to do. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. So far, people jumping into Drip. You want to check out Drip, I will leave a link down below. You can go to the swap. Second here, guys. You can go to the swap and you can buy your Drip, buy it over here, put in how much BNB you want to spend. You'll be able to click buy, you'll buy some Drip, and then you can take that and put it right into the faucet contract. Okay. So right now sitting at $17.86. I mean, don't wait till this thing goes to 25 bucks, 30 bucks, and that's when you want to buy your 10 Drip. Buy it early if you want to do that. Some of you guys might not want to do that, and that's okay too. Lots of ways you can play this game. Some of you guys, may or may not even jump into the pre-sale. I don't know. Some of you guys might be just waiting for the miner, right? Maybe you're not interested in the farm and you want to just jump right into the miner. Again, figure out what your strategy is. I kind of have an idea of what mine is going to be, and just roll from there. But in spite of all that, get you a position in the 1% a day faucet, and then have that as your backbone as you jump into say some of these other things, if you want to do that. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, guys, that's my video for today. I might have something later on, kind of taking a look at some of these new miners that are coming out. I might do a video later on, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Telegram so you're up to date and you get it first. And then, of course, subscribe to this channel so whenever I post a brand new video, you'll get notified straight away. Of course, guys, these things are risky, so only put in risk capital, guys. Very, very important that you do that. Your life will be so much more stress-free and better if you do that, because there's these being in this space can be a lot of fun. But if you're putting in more than you can afford to lose, it's super stressful, and you don't want to do that. And it's a big headache. So again, only put in what you can afford to lose. That's pretty much it. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.